Well, 2 practices and 2 games left of the regular season. So it's been a active couple of weeks, a lot of games. Coming off the Wyoming win, we had to get back into the practice mode right away. Went really light yesterday. We'll have a good practice today to play against a very good Fresno team on our home floor for senior night. And excited to honor our seniors, playing hopefully in front of a packed house at Viejas and finish our home schedule.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. We'll open up for questions, and we'll start with Lee Hamilton.
Hey, Brian, 7 wins, 8 games, unbelievable way to rally this thing. What changed?
Just continue to get better, Lee. We go to work every day. We practice hard. We self-criticize each other, critique each other, try to do things better every day, and just that hard work pays off at some point. And so we've been working hard, and we've been getting better.
Aside from Bradley, who's made the biggest jump offensively to kind of help you along, bail you out, get you hot?
It just depends on the game. I mean, Chad Baker-Mazzara has had some incredible games where he's put up points where we can't score. Nathan Mensah has become reliable in the low post scoring when we give him the ball. Trey Pulliam is having a great close to the year like he did last year. He might have been our most valuable player at the end of last year offensively, and he's doing that again now. So we seem to be getting better, hitting on more cylinders, and that's made us more dangerous offensively.
And final question, Bradley and Seiko's announcement last night about coming back for the extra year. Had there been a lot of dialogue between you and those players, or did they just walk in and say, I want to do this one more time?
I think they said, we asked them, we have senior night. Who are you going to bring? And they both said they didn't want to go through senior night. And to be honest with you, Lee, I haven't talked to them a whole lot on it. I'm so focused on finishing this year that my thoughts have not turned to next year. I've got 2 games left this year, a conference tournament, and hopefully postseason play. So that's a conversation I've really not had at length with either one of them.
Does it make a huge difference, though, in terms of recruiting and stability and cornerstones?
Yeah, obviously, we've always been at our best when we have veterans out there, and these are 2 veteran guards that hopefully want to come back, and we'll be back next year, and that will go a long way to continue to make us the program we've been over the last 22 years that we've been here when Steve Fisher started this 22 years ago.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Lee. We'll go to Bryce.
Hey, Dutch. Going back to the stretch where you played so well after over the last 8 games, you only lost 1 point on the road at Boise with a kind of a questionable call at the end. Through that stretch, it seems like, as you explained it, you got a contribution from this guy this night, this guy the other night. With the way you guys play defense, how important is it to just at least get that one guy that doesn't leave Matt on an island offensively?
Yeah, it's important. And what Matt's done is proven to be a really good passer. When he draws a double team, he's getting his teammates wide open shots, and then they have to step up and knock him down or make a play. So last time we played Fresno, they really tilted the floor to him. They didn't want to let him get going, and then Chad Baker had a big game. And so I'm expecting more of the same. They're going to tilt the defense toward Matt. They're going to switch screens, double him, not let him have the ball. And when he does get the ball, he's got to make plays for his teammates, which he's proven to do all season.
Is there anybody playing as well as you guys are in the Mountain West in the last maybe 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks?
I mean, Boise has been sensational. To go through the conference season with only 2 losses up to this point, 1 game left to Colorado State to clinch the regular season title, that Boise's played at an elite level. And the distance between us and Boise is, 2 possessions? So it's hard. It's hard to win a conference title. And they've had a veteran group that's guarded hard and made enough timely plays to win the regular season. So the conference tournament's going to be wide open. I watched them play Nevada last night, and Nevada had open shots to have an opportunity to win the game. And so the difference between first and 7th or 8th in this league is pencil thin, paper thin, I should say. And so that will lead to a really good conference tournament a week from now.
When you look past some of the win-loss records, which sounds ridiculous, you have to look at the win-loss records, but the metrics really lean your direction in terms of the top 4 teams in the conference. But as you move into maybe that NCAA tournament phase, I know you have the Mountain West first. How much of a sense do you have? Do committee members looking at all these teams and all these conferences? How much time or how far do they drill down into like the Mountain West?
I've never been in that room. I'd love to hear what they're saying in there and what they say about the Mountain West. You know how I feel. I always feel that they're trying to get as many Power Fives in as they can, and that we have to play our way in. So we will continue to play hard, try to win another game or two over our last two here against Fresno and Nevada, and then head in the conference tournament and try to play our best basketball, and then the rest will take care of itself.
Thanks.
Thanks, Bryce. We'll go to Austin.
Hey, Coach. The defense performance on Monday night against Graham Ike was pretty impressive. Starting the game with doubles, then fake doubles. Then you kind of just hit him on a one-on-one towards the end of the game. I'm wondering, is there anything that you learned guarding him that you might use to defend Orlando Robinson tomorrow?
I mean, Orlando and he are really good players, and so we'll do the same thing. Obviously, they're going to require some double teams at times. At times, you're going to have to play them straight up. It just depends on the course of the game. And I think the beauty of all defensive game plans is try to keep the offense off balance. I think if you let Orlando get comfortable, he'll pick you apart. If he knows the double's coming every time, he'll get them wide open threes. If he knows it's not coming, he'll go one-on-one and score. So we have to keep him off balance as best we can, and that's by changing the game plan from time to time to try to keep him off balance, because he's a extremely talented player that can score the ball at a high level.
And then I went back and looked at Sdsu's history on senior night. And since 2005, Sdsu was 16-1 on senior night, and the only loss is 2019 to Fresno. I'm sure you remember that game. It was losing a late lead in it. Are games such as that staying in your mind at all, just to not get too caught up in the emotions of senior night?
Yeah, senior night's a big deal, and you're honoring guys that have been in the program, some of them 4 or 5 years, some of them just a year or two. But they all came here to win titles, to play their best basketball, to play for San Diego State, represent this university with great class and integrity. And so it's sad to see them playing their last game in Viejas. But with that being said, you blink your eyes and 4 years go by in a hurry. And last year we had a virtual senior night, and this year we'll have a live senior night. So they're always emotional. They're always fun, and hopefully they don't detract from us getting off to a good start and getting caught up in all the emotion of that.
Great. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. We'll go to John.
Trey, obviously, Coach was just on 20 or 30 minutes ago, and he said he's thankful that you never gave up on him, and he was thankful for that in his time in a San Diego State uniform. What's it been like for you to watch the growth of Trey Pulliam over these last 3 years?
Trey's been a tremendous player in our program. You know, his first year here, he played behind Malachi and KJ and did a good job backing them up. When it was his turn, he stepped up, played at a high level, helped us win a regular season and postseason conference title as the starting point guard. And now this year has us playing at a high level again. And hopefully this is just a springboard to his last 4 or 5 games in a San Diego State uniform with the regular season and Mountain West tournament, and then hopefully lead us to an NCAA tournament. So Trey's played great basketball. It's a credit to his work ethic, his desire to be good individually, yet make his teammates better. And so Trey's been a tremendous player in our program. We're going to miss him greatly.
I wanted to ask you about Nathan and AG. I mean, really all the seniors, but Nathan, I mean, when you got him 4 years ago, what were your expectations? And 4 years later, how has he grown?
Nathan started every game he's been in the program when he's been healthy enough to start. So he's been incredibly important to our success over the last 4 years. Obviously, his second year, he only got to play 9 games when he had the respiratory issue. So Nathan has been a tremendous credit to this university and to himself and his family. So I hope Nathan will consider coming back another year. Like I said, last year we honored Trey and Joshua Tomajic on a virtual senior night, and then they both came back. And so obviously AG and Nate have an opportunity to at the end of the year look at where they're at degree-wise, what they want to do professionally, and if they want another year to come back, they're both welcome to come back to San Diego State for a 5th year if they'd like to.
You've said some interesting things over the year, I think, about AG, how typically you are under the belief as a coach, like you got to practice to play well. I mean, you basically have to practice to play, but AG has kind of proved you wrong at times. He's done everything he possibly can with his body. How impressed are you with what he's been able to do, considering the circumstances of his health over the last 4 years?
AG has given us everything he's had every year he's been here, and he's dealt with injuries, the hip, the shoulder, and he's found his way back on the floor. And I told him before the season started, I wanted him to be in the program, whether he ever played another minute or not, because he's such a valuable leader. And I told him he didn't have to practice to play. We've seen that model. Tim Shelton, who gave everything he had to this program, couldn't practice the end of his career. His knees were so beat up, he'd ride the exercise bike, and he'd step out on the floor on game day and gave us everything he had. So I told AG he can do the same thing. I don't need to see AG practice to know how valuable he is in games. And so I think that was probably a relief to him, knowing that he didn't have to tax his body every day, that he could come out and give us everything he had on game day, and we've benefited from that.
And then, if you wouldn't mind just commenting on both Josh and Tahiro and their impact on this program. Obviously, Josh has won a fortune of games with you the last 2 years, and Tahiro's really had some big moments for you, especially lately. Yeah,
Josh was vitally important last year when we won the regular season and postseason conference tournaments, and he's been vitally important this year. And sometimes when you come off the bench, you have to be able to manage your disappointment. You know, Josh is good enough to start in our program and start in a lot of programs. But based on rotations and what we have, he hasn't. But every time I call his number, he steps in, he's ready to play, and he plays at a high level. The same will be said of Tahiro. You know, his journey's been incredible, from Mali to Spain to Japan to Portland, and now to finish at San Diego State, to play on a winning program, to come to work every day, to be an incredible teammate, and to be important to us on the floor when he's out there as a backup to Nate. And so Tahiro has been a blessing, and we wouldn't have won the way we have this year without him. And so we're grateful that Tahiro chose to spend his last year of college basketball here with us at San Diego State.
Thanks, Dutch.
Thanks, John. We'll go to Mark.
Coach, the two guys you have on today, Trey and AG, probably missed the biggest chunks of practice in the season, and yet here they are still playing. I wonder if you could just talk about, it sounds like they sort of epitomize the mentality of the program about, the old cliches about never giving up and just keep fighting through stuff.
Yeah, Trey with getting the COVID when he got it, and then the rest of the team got it, and he missed a big chunk of the season and took a while to get his timing back. But Trey's done a good job managing those frustrations of having to sit out basically a month. He sat 10 days on his own, and then the team got it, and so he missed a lot of basketball. AG has, dealt with injuries and frustration his whole career, but you'd never know it. Every time he steps into the Jam Center or in Viejas, he's got a smile on his face. He's all about everybody else. It's not about him. It's about everybody else. And that's what's made this program so good. Everybody's willing to sacrifice part of themselves for the good of the program and the good of the team, and those two are great examples of that.
In terms of AG, were you surprised he decided to play? Did you do any convincing? I mean, how did that go down? Did he just come to you one day and say, "I'm ready to play"?
Well, as a veteran old coach, I just knew if I could get him back in the gym, he'd miss it eventually. And so I think AG missed it eventually and said, "Coach, I want to try." I said, "Well, I'm not surprised." So first thing I had to do is get him back in the gym. And I told him if he just wanted to coach, be a coach on the sideline, I was good with that. And then he started feeling better, and he wanted to give it a try. So if he didn't want to play, AG would have been valuable to this year's team. But obviously him playing is more important. And so he found a way to put himself out there to help us win, and I'm grateful for that.
When you look at his contributions, if you look at almost every big win you've had, he's had some huge play in it, or sometimes big numbers, but mostly just some, like the block at the end of the game against Wyoming, or the defense in Maldonado late in that game, things like that. Do you consider this your best coaching move you made all year, getting him to play?
Well, he got himself to play. I just put him out there. I just put the scenario out there where he could play. So, no, he's been great. And like I said, what he does doesn't show up in a box score. It's not a double-double, but it's a play or two. It's a loose ball where he jumps on it. It's a hustle play. And those don't show up in the box score, but they show up in the win column. And that's what AG's done. He's helped us win games, and hopefully we'll continue to do that.
What does it do for his teammates when they see a guy fight through that many injuries and not give up? Does it help a guy like Trey when he's in that situation to say, look, I've seen AG do this. This is just the culture of this team?
Well, they just see that everybody's willing to sacrifice to win. And most importantly, it's the guys that they sit there all week and practice, and AG can't practice because he's unable to, and then he steps in the game, and none of them are take offense to that. They know we want to win. We're about winning in this program. So if AG can help us win, and that only means playing in games, the team is good with that. You have to have a culture for that to happen, where a guy doesn't practice, and then he gets their minutes in games. And they want to win more than they want to do anything else. That's why they came here. And so they know AG gives everything he has. If he could practice, he would. But they're all willing to accept whatever roles they have for the good of the team, and that's why we've won the way we've won here.
Last thing for me on a philosophical level, kind of going back to what Bryce was talking about earlier. I know you set as a goal to win a conference title, but you also set a goal to be playing your best basketball and get to the NCAA tournament. I mean, in a hypothetical world, would you rather win a conference title but sort of limping to it, or would you rather be in the situation where you are right now, where you're not going to win a conference regular season title, but you are playing your best basketball, and it has maybe your best basketball ahead of you?
We want to play in the NCAA tournament. To win a national championship, you have to get there. So we've won conference titles, and that's our goal when we start the year, to win the regular season and the postseason conference title. But in a big picture scenario, we have to get to the NCAA tournament to have a chance to win a national championship, and that's our greatest goal.